Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about computer viruses. Let us understand what is a computer virus. Let us understand the types of computer virus. Also, let's understand when and where was the first virus ever written or identified, and what is the steps that one should take to make sure if you get infected with the virus, what are the next step of procedures that you should follow to make sure your impact is less, right? So let's get started. Virus is a piece of code written by a programmer intendedly to cause a havoc. Let me repeat, virus is a piece of code written by a programmer intendedly to cause a problem. Right? It is not an eight-legged creature that walks from one computer to another computer. Please understand that. The idea is it is not something written by itself. It is a programmer who intentionally writes to destroy or eat or make a system process hungry or so on, whereby it impacts the functioning or the performance of the particular system. Let us understand why is it used for? What are the types of popular viruses that are available? There are popularly 4 to 5 types of viruses that are available. The first one is the file virus. What is a file virus? When we talk about file virus, we are often able to associate with file extensions, right? We have a txt file extension, we have a exe file extension, we have a docs file extension. Likewise, there are so many file extensions available. Let me tell you, there are viruses written by programmers intendedly to infect a particular file system. It may be a txt, it may be a docs, it may be axe. And oftentimes you might have noticed in a particular given computer, there is only PDF files getting corrupted. There are only INI files getting corrupted. There are only exe files getting corrupted, which means that it is clearly an indicator that that particular system is infected with the file virus. Number 2, let's talk about the boot sector virus. Boot sector virus is otherwise popularly called the MBR virus, Master Boot Record virus, right? When we talk about the MBR virus or the boot sector virus, there's something very interesting, something fundamental that I want you to understand. How do you identify a virus in your computer, right? This is the first question that you need to ask yourself. How do you identify your system is infected with the virus? You can identify if a system is infected with the virus by using a antivirus software, isn't it? You need to have an antivirus software to identify a virus that's infected your system or that's got installed in your system. Perfect. But the question here is, right, you have a virus and your antivirus should detect it. But where is your antivirus software installed? Antivirus software is installed on top of your operating system. So first you have an operating system, then you have an antivirus software, and only then you can identify a virus that is sitting on top of the OS. Now, let me ask you this. What is a master boot record virus or what is a boot sector virus? Have you ever noticed in your computer when you log into your system, there are multiple options that shows. If you use dual boot or if you use multi-boot in your systems, it will say Windows, Linux, Kali and so on. Now the question is, the menu that you see, what is it called? It's called the bootloader. Okay, bootloader is a software that loads your operating system into the memory, right? So you say Kali Linux, it loads that operating system into the memory. So the bootloader is a software that actually is loaded way before the operating system is loaded, Windows, Kali, or whatever. It means that the bootloader loads itself before the OS loads. Now the question is, what is a boot sector virus? It's a MBR virus, right? A boot sector virus is a piece of code written by the programmer intentionally to go and sit in front of the OS, meaning even before the OS loads, it goes and sits in the bootloader, right? So what happens is, there has to be the OS, then the antivirus, and then you can identify the virus. But the virus is going and sitting in front of the OS, somewhere in the bootloader space. How will an antivirus identify a virus? Because the antivirus itself is not loaded, because the OS itself is not loaded. Am I clear? So you need to have the OS on top of which antivirus and on top of which is the virus. Now, a boot sector virus is usually one of the hardest types of virus to be identified, to be detected by a antivirus software, because it loads itself before the OS loads to the memory. The third type of virus is the polymorphic virus. What is a polymorphic virus? Very simple. The idea of this virus is to act differently at different instances of time. Like the regular polymorphism in C, C++, it is very similar. So the virus works differently at different instances of time, which makes the antivirus are going to have a pattern or a signature to identify the virus. But now what happens is it tries to evade by polymorphism, meaning you will not be able to easily identify the virus because it is polymorphic in nature. Last but not the least, batch file virus. What is a batch file virus?